Here we go.
Lead and Be Legendary presents A Nametag Is Necessary.
Yeah, thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of A Nametag Is Necessary. I'm Nametag Alexander. We just gonna get right into it and not waste too much time. I hope I'm not butchering the last name, but we got Jasmin Benward. Am I saying it right?
Yes, perfect. Yes.
Perfect. I was looking at your bio, right? And this was from a while back, actually, even from when I first, y'all at Madden Flow first accepted my music catalog, and it's so decorated, right? So what I want to jump into out the gate is, when did you decide to bet on yourself and be someone to wear so many hats in these different fields?
Oh, okay. That is a great question. That's a wonderful question.
Thank you.
I feel like I've been in a position where I've taken the baton of other people who had art interest but didn't think that they could make a viable career out of it.
Mhm.
So between like knowing that I didn't want to do that and like learning from example and like non-example in a way, I had to figure out like what I was going to do to be different, and a lot of that has taken exploration and curiosity. I've always been the artsy. I was always the artsy kid, and then it turned into like adulthood. But my formal training is like in education, but in tandem, I was always dabbling in something so that I could feel fulfilled and like express myself. So it was always like writing, music, something along those lines. And then I would say early 30s, maybe even like around 30 is when I was like, you know what, let's see what like other careers can blossom out of like a love for music. Okay, you have a love for music, but like what are some careers in it? So I started out composing, and that was like tricky for me not having gone to school for it. And I mean, I made my way, but once I got around some composers for real, I was like, ooh, okay, like let me see
they
how
really
I
do
can,
this.
they really do. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
let me see how else I can pivot. And so the admin part of music supervision, I was able to teach myself. And I've always had the ear. So I was like, okay, this might be a better route for me. And then sync came basically around the same time. And so I've just like ran with it ever since. But like I'm self-taught at everything. Of course, there's like a lot of panels, workshops, self-study that I do, which I feel like can take you very, very far. People underestimate that.
The
But
extra knowledge.
yeah, just like being creatively nosy and so curious that you go down rabbit holes. Like you're so interested. And then by the time I look around, it's like, oh, like, the accolades are coming and they're nice and it's nice to be recognized. But honestly, it's just because I'm so passionate about creativity and art across multiple disciplines
Yeah.
that, yeah, whenever I enjoy something, I just go crazy, and it is paying off, I would say.
I'm one of the same, because I think about this too. I like, outside of this podcast, I also had one titled Marvel of the Minds. Me and my host, Peace of Mind, we actually cover a lot just in the scope of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I really didn't dive into that. Like, I was always watching the films like when they first kind of came into the light in 2008 with Iron Man or whatever, and not really keeping up as much. And I'll catch a film like later down the line, not immediately when it would hit theaters. It wasn't really until like 2019, maybe going into even early 2020, where I was really keeping up. And then just somewhere just during that pandemic, I really started to become fully invested. And just like, once I got latched on, it was like, oh, it's no looking back. Me and Peace was always talking about it in Messenger on Facebook. And I want to say it was like 2022, maybe late 2022 or early 2023. I know they were announcing that Black Panther 2 was coming out. Like, you want to just do a podcast about it? We talk about this enough. Why don't we just take, he had more expertise in it than I did because of the comic books and everything. I wasn't really always tapped into the comic books, of course, but that combined with us, and then we both being hip hop artists, we just combined. It was like, look, this is a lane that nobody's really covering like that. So why don't we just go ahead and do it? And ever since then, I'm just nerding out about it. I'm locked in. So I definitely understand. Like once you latch on to something, it's like I'm just fully invested now.
Yeah.
So with you tapped in to so many different areas in the creative space, right? Entrepreneurship, what have you as well. How do you balance the creative side as well as your day-to-day responsibilities? Because we all still got to live, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
regular day-to-day things. How do you balance that with the creative part?
Oh, that's such a great question. It's always a work in progress. I'm always trying to think about like my own systems and
Hmm.
how I can be more efficient in my day. But for the most part, I have like my big three. And so those are like three either like business related things or an email I know I need to send. It's something that's like pressing and urgent
Yeah.
that I prioritize for the day so that I can like rest assured basically. And then around that, I have to consider family recently,
Yeah.
and just like self-care. So like I'm making sure that I like stay active. That's something that I do for myself every
I'm gonna
single
get into that in
day.
a minute too, because
Yeah,
it's something
okay.
else that I saw that I'm gonna tap into that I thought was very important, like outside of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's tricky because like I've become so much of a workhorse that like dating has taken a backseat. Yeah, it's like I'm just so locked in, like you said, that um there are things that I may have prioritized when I was uncertain about what I wanted to do in life,
Hmm.
um, where that was important to me. But the more I understand like the moves that I want to make and the legacy that I want to leave behind, it has become like dating anyway. It has become like less of a thing. So for the
It's on the
most
back
part,
burner.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like I'm focused on like being a better version of me. I'm focused on like making sure I show up for my family when I can, and that's and like getting my craft in order on the
Yeah.
business and creative side. Like, okay, are you improving as like an artist, and also like clerically, are you taking care of business? So it's like, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
And that's something that all artists should do though too. Like how you say clerically, even on the admin side, like it's important to balance all of that out. Just the from the art side of it or whatever. Like I find myself going through the same thing. Like just yesterday, I'm like, I had to deliver a verse for a feature that I was a part of, and I'm like, man, I get this done. I'm not gonna be able to get, you know what I mean? But it's like it just take balance. I'm like, all right, this I got a whole week ahead of me. So I literally have to I gotta use that notes app on the
Oh
iPhone.
yeah,
I gotta
oh
use
yeah,
my calendar to where it's like
yes,
I don't always want to do it every week, but I literally gotta put from the personal to the creative side of things. And you know what I mean? Like I separate them like, okay, this personal life here, this is on the music side, or this is on the podcasting side, and then here we are with, like how you said, taking that time for self-care, just being active, which brings me to my next question, because I saw, I don't want to butcher this word, but I saw it says somatic instructor, and I'm like, somatic, I
hmm,
gotta look that up. So when I looked it up, and of course you will give the people insight that's listening to the episode, just give me some insight on that, on what that is and how you feel as though creators can benefit from somatic therapy.
yeah. It's like any practice of like mind, body, spirit. It's movement. It's like your thinking. It's holistic. It's full body. It's like you embodying and channeling whatever you're trying to do. It's basically like taking this idea that you don't have to compartmentalize um, your well-being.
Okay.
Yeah, like um, perhaps something physical you do is a part of your mental health, is a part of your
Yeah.
spiritual practice. So things like yoga, where you can, it's like multi-layered, um, for your benefit, things of that
Like
nature.
sauna infrared, like I did one not long ago, twice actually. They have infrared sauna, like
Hmm.
they have that. I was doing yoga, still tap into it here and there as well, but more so just being active like every day. Like at first I was like, well, they say like 3 to 5 days per week. I'm like, no, just do it every day, because it's not like the time that I'm doing it. It's not like an hour or the most strenuous exercises, just even the most basic exercises. Because I remember like squats. Why would I do squats? And then I was looking, because I'm my build. I'm literally like 175 at best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And with a lot of protein, maybe 180. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm not, my goal is not to necessarily get bulked up or anything, but it's just in my mind now, it's like, I got to be active. And what I notice on a regular day basis, the more active that I am, like how you said mind, body, and spirit, all of that matters. Because now if my body's not right, now it's in my mind. Like, I'll give you an example, like maybe a year and a half ago, one day I just woke up, and this came from a lack of stretching, but then here and there, just thinking I could knock out some push-ups and be okay, but not eating right. And one day I just woke up and had the craziest like pain and strain in my neck where I could barely turn it. And I remember just calling my boss. I'm like, I ain't gonna come in today. She's like, that's fine. Like you got PTO, use it or whatever. And I remember going to the doctor. Like, there's nothing wrong. Your neck's not broken or anything. Nothing happened. It's just a strain. It's a muscle strain. And when I tell you, I went down a rabbit hole looking like, well, how do I fix this? Like, what do I do? And my boss was heavy into yoga. And she just like, you need to just do yoga. I'm like, I'm going to see a chiropractor. I had already been going anyway. And then I just felt like what they were doing, I could kind of just do at home because nothing was insanely wrong with my back. So once I started just looking up, you'd be surprised like what the YouTube algorithm or Instagram algorithm does for you. Like once you start looking these things up, they're feeding it to you. So I'm going based off my weight and everything. Like, well, what can I eat different? How can I eat this? A lot of stuff I cut out sugars like dang near entirely. Right. I mean, it's going to be in some things, but I more so kind of eliminated or cut back on it as much as possible, and just being able to just be active. Just, oh man, and it took a minute because I was just trying to, they say I got to lift the weights and everything. It's like, man, your body ain't ready for that yet. Like start light. And I started doing that. And now I got a routine on a regular day basis. And it makes so big of a difference. And that's why when I saw that, I said, that looked like what I think it is. Let me look it up. And then I did. And I was like, I'm asking when you was leading into it, and you saying just connecting that mind, body, and spirit, I said, perfect. And I think that's something that so many creators need to tap into because of that, for the simple fact, like how we said, we not prioritizing, and we need to learn how to prioritize. It ain't always got to be, I'm up late just doing all this work because of the grind. It's like, but what about your body? What about your health? You know what I'm saying? Eventually that's going to check out on you if you don't focus on it. You know what I mean? So I thought that was interesting. That's dope that you do that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now you got, like I say, very decorated music supervisor. Because initially when I started this, I was like, you know what, when I get her on, because remember, this was July of last year. We said we were going to do it right.
Thank you so much.
But I'm glad the time went by because I kept going back to the bio. I'm like, it's a little bit more than single licensing here, but what I wanted to lead with that, but I was like, no, that's some other dope things that she do, and I wanted to be highlighted. And with you being a music supervisor, what do you enjoy most about that role? Because you do a lot. So with that role in particular, what do you enjoy the most?
Okay. What I found between working in sync and working music supervision is like on the sync side, I'm, the seller, like we're pitching, but as the soup, I get to make the creative decisions. So that's what I love. Like I love being able to work with indie artists, which that's what I've mostly done so far, is like work with indie artists who are just amazing, so dope, and figure out, what they have or what they need to create to picture. And so lately it's been like film, and recently it's a game. And so it's like me watching the footage, my mind already works in like a audio visual way anyway. And so for me to be able to say like, hey, this is something that, has a credit attached, or hey, this has a stipend. And like, as my budgets are growing, I'm able to reach back to the people who were, willing to work with me before and be like, hey, I got another project, I got a bigger budget, like, you gonna work with me again? And they're like, yes. And so
dope.
It's such a blessing. It's like, it's such a slow crawl, and the industry is very gate kept, and like less than 10% of music supervisors are African American. Like, that is crazy to me. I want to have a voice in our stories. Like, I think that's kind of crazy. So it's really fun to be able to have that like creative oversight. Like,
do you ever watch like projects that you're not a part of, like of some TV show or film? Because I do this often, where I will watch a TV show. Like, it's a lot. I won't name TV shows and specifically, and I'll watch it and they be like, the ego part of me, like, I had a song that could have worked for that better than that? Or do you watch it and be like, why would they place that there? That didn't make sense. You know what I mean? Or does that ever happen?
I do that.
Okay.
I know it's subjective. I know everyone has their own taste. I know
Yeah.
Budget is also a thing.
Yeah.
But I've done so much with so little that I'm like, no, y'all are playing. And the reason that this, is not sucks, but like could have resonated better is because y'all have your familiarity folks, but y'all don't have the folks who know what time it is in the sonic world when it comes to the world that you're trying to represent. So I've gotten a space recently where like I want the projects that want me. Like I feel like when I first started trying to get into music supervision, I was very much like, like not begging, but just like
it felt like a chase.
Yeah, I feel like I was chasing like other soups or like more established than me or like whatever. And just like taking inventory, honestly, like, oh, you're moving funny. Okay. Like I want to work with people who like want to support me. I want projects that are for me. And so if they're few and far between, but they're amazing, then I feel confident because I have all these other gifts or all these other things that are in the work. Like, but if I was only doing music supervision, it would be very disheartening because it's such a gamble. Like it's so hit or miss.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I talk to artists often that want to get into the space of sync license, and they'll have that mindset. And it's brand new to them, so I understand. I was that way before too. You think it moves kind of fast, and I was fortunate enough to have people in my corners like, hey, listen, it's not what you think. You're not about to just be like, oh, I got some great music, and they pick it up. It's a bunch of other artists pitching, just as if you put your music out there on the streaming platforms. Like, what makes your music stand out to why somebody should check this out or whatever, unless you already got like a following, of course. But yeah, it's different. Like I've literally had artists, like, because at one point I was a sync agent. I'm not any longer, but it was a cool gig to have. And I do remember like artists pitching like, did they pick it up? It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. Did they pitch? Did it land? It's like, and you got to break it to them. They like, man. And then here I am, I'm posting placements that I've received over the course of my career. And they look, what he got? It's like, yeah, but I worked my way into that. It wasn't just I did a lot of extra leg work to get those songs placed, or just to even get my music heard by these music supervisors, versus me just pitching it to an agent or a supervisor and then landing. Like, it doesn't work that way. Sometimes it's unfortunate, you know what I mean? So yeah,
I'm so glad you said that, because it's hard for me because I'm like forever championing artists, and so it's like, when folks ask you like, hey, like, did you get my stuff, or is it placed, or like whatever, I'm like, we there's a big sea of folks who are also pitching, and it's very like competitive. And that's why I like supervising. Like, I love to pull and pitch, of course, but like I like supervising because the decision is mine.
Yeah, and like, even with like, I see a lot of like agencies popping up now, or just people that's in the sync space, and me and another artist associate of mine, like, we always go back and forth when we talk about it. Like, man, you see this? Like, I don't look how they just selling it, making it seem like it's just that easy, and it's not. You selling these artists, it's a pipe dream and a promise, you know what I mean? And they're like, all you got to do is just, you want to get your music in TV and film. You've been trying to figure out how to get into your music on the video games, and you probably look. It's almost like the Everest college commercials, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I could go to college. I could do it. Yeah, you're right. You know what I mean? And motivating you. And then you new to this, you don't know. It's Instagram. You looking, you scrolling like, wow, okay. You hit you comment, now it's the comment, and I'll send you the DM or whatever. You comment, you get the little list, and then you scroll down and it's like $150 like for your course or whatever. It's like, oh, got me. And that turns people away, I think. They look like, oh, you're not willing to kind of tell me the game or a little bit of it. You just did this so I can be added to your email list. And if I am interested in the knowledge, then I got to pay you for it. Where somebody like me, I just took it upon myself to of course, I knew somebody that plugged me into somebody but I was already prepared. I had it myself together. But then once that first placement happened, I was like, all right, how do I get another? Like, what? I had to go do the research. I started doing a Google search, reading up on it on my own. And sometimes this artist is probably not willing to do that. Man, I just want to create. And you selling and making it look easy. It's like, yeah, they went, man, skip sync. I ain't in the sync. So I'm glad you shared that. And also, it says you were a screenwriter. So how do you benefit from? How does that help you as a music supervisor, being that you are a screenwriter as well?
Oh, great question. I can speak to this with like a project that I just worked on. It was a web series, 8 episodes, and multiple placements needed for spots and stuff. And
Nice.
so I was brought in after production, which like that happens a lot. But I got the scripts ahead of time, so I was like spotting before I even got picture lock cuts.
Okay.
But just being able to like internalize a script, read it, start getting an idea of where like spots should go. It's like a very like inverse operation that goes on. It's like if it's not one thing, it's the other. If it's not the music I need to think about, then it's the story. As for me personally, one thing that I've been thinking about a lot is music source, because a lot of times when I do get things that are in post-production, like after everything has been filmed and I'm just getting cuts, I have to place the music, but it's like the location of where the source of sound is coming from is like unnatural a lot of times, because it's not coming from like a stereo, it's not coming from someone's headphones. Like I just have to put it, in a spot. I have to use my intuition. And so when I'm writing, though, because a lot of my pieces are musically inspired but not musicals, I think about those things on the front end. So when I'm writing, I'm already knowing like, okay, I'm thinking about the music too. So that's one way that it helps. But I make playlists all the time for like whenever I'm writing. It helps me zone out. It gets me tapped into the region. One of the latest things that I've worked on is it's a drama pilot, which is like a little out of my wheelhouse because I've been doing dramedy stuff before that was half-hour length. But this one is set in South LA, and there's a lot of Kendrick and a lot of like grimy analog type of music that I just love. It's so like it's gritty and beautiful, and so yeah. But I would think about that and visualize as I was writing. I'm like, okay, yes, yeah. It just takes me there. Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. And I'm gonna make sure that was actually my last question too, because you nailed it. Like with the questions I was asking, it was leading. I was like, she don't even know what questions I put down, but it was leading right into the next one. I'm like, that's amazing, because like she's about to lead. That's why I stopped you one. Like, wait, because that's literally the next question. So that's dope. But yeah, I didn't really have anything else because, like I said, I got your link in the bio, or in the description of the episode already, and I got to add the IMDb profile in there also. So I want people to go, like, as they're listening to this episode and just scroll. Like I said it earlier in the episode, it's super, super decorated. You know what I mean? I was like, man, it's a lot in here. You know what I mean? So I'm glad y'all accepted my catalog at Madden Flow Entertainment. So I'm looking forward to like 2025 and beyond, like working and getting some syncs with you all. So definitely looking forward to that. And let any indie artists that are tapped in, because I'm pretty sure someone's listening that's an indie artist, or composer for that matter, let them know how they can submit to Madden Flow Entertainment for you all to consider their music for sync opportunities.
Yeah, the website is info@maddenflowentertainment.com. And it can also be found on our website, which is maddenflowentertainment.com. And you can see previous placements, and find out a little bit more about the company. I also have been doing like one-on-ones with artists that are either curious or have been onboarded already. That's like part of my role is that I will, meet and talk to folks and demystify.
As we just did.
Yeah, demystify and like even answer questions they have about their like onboarding stuff and their contract. Just to make sure that everyone feels comfortable but folks like to also put a face to like who they're talking to behind the email. So I've enjoyed doing that quite a bit lately.
Nice. I figured I said I killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Because I did have a quick question, because when the briefs come through, so when it says if you already have submitted, or basically if you already got music in the catalog that fits this brief, just type the name. I just reply with the names of the songs.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Cool. So I've been doing it right. I just wanted to make sure. Cool.
Yeah, you're doing it right.
Perfect.
Yeah, because we want to from administrative side, to be transparent, like we want to make sure that we are not flying the same tracks into disco.
Yeah.
They're already there.
Okay.
So we want to make sure there's no duplicates. So that's.
And if I add any, I would just let one of you know, like, hey, I just submitted this song. Okay, perfect. Yeah, because y'all got them briefs coming. I'll be looking out. Oh, okay, cool. Like another one. Yeah. Some I'll be looking like I just be wanting to have something for everything, but I look out like, all right, I ain't got that. Let me fall back. I don't got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think that's one of the hardest parts too. Is like, I gotta pass.
Yeah.
Especially when you see the rates and stuff, you're like,
Yeah, you were like, what? This is thousands of dollars. You're like, all right, this to put me nice in a nice space for about a year. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then you look at it, be like, it was like pop or rock. Be like, damn, I don't got that. Yeah, nice. Appreciate that. I said I was gonna ask if I asked you one. So yeah, I didn't really have anything else. We got the link in the description of the episode. One more time, let them know where they can find you at per se on Instagram, because you're pretty active on there.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you my personal Instagram because the other one is in progress. But you can find me at write, like you're writing something, WRITE on Jazz, JAS. So that's right. Jazz.
Dope.
On X, on Instagram. Yeah.
Dope. Hey, same here with me. You can pretty much find me on all the social media platforms at Nametag Alexander, or if you just type Nametag Alexander in the search. And same thing across all music platforms, Nametag Alexander. Listen, when y'all see me posting, like I got this placement through Madden Flow, y'all know what time it is. But in the meantime, it's been A Nametag Is Necessary, episode 59. Peace.
Lead and Be Legendary presents A Nametag Is Necessary.